All right, so welcome everyone to our special meeting of council on April 12th for a public presentation for a zoning amendment. And I will, I guess, hand that right over to Alex, and he can explain to everyone what we're up to tonight. While he's getting ready, I really appreciate Alex and the staff and Jeff taking action on this to show them we're open for business and making things happen in our town. So I appreciate that. So I'll let you take it away there, Alex.
All right, thank you, Your Worship. Just making note of the documentation that council would have had the notice for the meeting, which was posted on the town website for the statutory period of time, which is 10 to 14 days. And then the actual copy of the bylaw as well. So I'm going to go through that just quickly here so we can, we don't have anybody in attendance as I noted earlier, but this presentation should be made available on the town Facebook page. So just quickly here, make sure I'm sharing my screen. So as a public presentation as required by section 25 of the Community Planning Act. As you know, there was the final reading given to the zoning bylaw on the March 31st council meeting. And the first request to amend was made before that bylaw was accepted. So there's a request to rezone a property in that new zoning bylaw. The request also involves a municipal plan amendment. So that's what we're dealing with tonight, is the municipal plan bylaw, the general future land use map. And on the 31st, council requested the views of PRAC on the proposed amendment and set the date for this public presentation tonight. That was posted, and now we're holding the public presentation. There was a timeline given that would how this amendment could be done most expeditiously by council, but given the situation at Evanston, that might be delayed. So the proposed timeline given here likely will be extended into June, just based on that situation, or we'll see what happens exactly. So the first reading and second reading, which could have happened tonight, I just talked with the clerk CAO, and he's recommending to not proceed with those tonight. So you could just deal with the public presentation tonight, if you will. And that would likely be best dealt with, I guess, when the new coming council is in place. So the rezoning in question would be for this piece of property here. That's the PID ending with 024. And this is the warehouse on Prince William Street across from River Street. It's a portion there marked with the 125 and the 250, not the whole property. So just a part of the property going from the industrial designation to the residential. There will also be an accompanying zoning bylaw change, which we're not going through tonight, which will deal with the specific types of zones this is going to be dealing with. This is some aerial photography that I took of the site. There's a mini home there that would have to be moved. And then you can see part of the industrial building there, the warehouse in the top left corner. This is the house at 80 Prince William Street. And you can see more into the back of the property where some of the other industrial uses are from different neighbors. This would be a view of the middle driveway that is not being used right now for freight, but is used closer in the summer. Here's the other driveway, which is the predominant driveway. Currently, both driveways are not paved. So the bylaw amendment that we're actually going through tonight is very simple. It's an amendment to the map for the general future land use map for the municipal plan from industrial to residential. And this is the entirety of the bylaw with this schedule for the municipal plan. There will be an accompanying zoning bylaw, which is a different bylaw document and will be dealt with at a different meeting by council. But this is simply the whole thing, the changing the map to show this yellow portion and in the pink portion, from industrial to residential. And in that that size and shape. All right. Looks like I got an issue here. Just 1 second. So this is the policies that this would be looking at. So encourage the appropriate location of industrial operation within town limits. And council shall encourage the location of industrial uses which are incompatible with surrounding land uses and shall encourage redevelopment of such lands for more compatible uses. Thought this was an applicable policy in your plan to think about. Additionally, there's policy when you're rezoning lands for multi-unit residential, as this is. So there's lots that your municipal plan calls your attention to when you do these types of rezonings. So all the potential for impacts, the proper locations of facilities and types of development, site planning, and this again will be dealt with more closely. We'll look at this in the rezoning or the zone change part of the application, which includes terms and conditions that council may set. We talked to the applicant about applying to change the zoning and designation, the majority of the frontage of this property to residential. The point here was to make sure that that municipal plan policy was followed, that the incompatibility of industrial right next to residential would be dealt with. So we didn't have a incompatible uses on Prince William, it would be contiguous. Also, this is about encouraging the rental stock of the town. So that was a big part of this. This is a part of the municipal plan and core to the municipal plan. And as I said, all those criteria that are listed there in proposal 6 of the municipal plan, you're going to have to look at that when you specifically are going to looking at rezoning the property. That basically concludes it. So that is the whole bylaw, and I'll turn it back to you, Your Worship.
Yeah, so I got one question. Of course, I see we're delaying our first and second reading. I'm a little concerned about that. You're saying the new council, but this new council, you may be looking at them for the next month or so for all we know. I don't know about delaying it with that circumstance.
But once the election is held, you are by definition under law the outgoing council. The outgoing council has restrictions on what it can and cannot do, including adopting, amending, or anything like that with bylaws. So, and I can't swear in the new council until the successful candidate of the mayoral election is declared by the province. So we're not doing first and second reading, but we're not going to lose any time because there's going to be a gap there that we're essentially a lame duck council when it comes to bylaws.
So has anyone talked with our developer on that?
I tried to reach out to Kendall, who has been talking to him more directly this afternoon, and we played telephone tag, but we're working on having that conversation with him.
So this is pretty much our only option then.
Yeah, even if you did first and second reading tonight, you're still going to be stuck because we have to go through the other public processes. And we're going to hit a spot where we're not going to be legally allowed to proceed until the new council is sworn in. We always knew this was going to carry through the council. We are not expecting what looks like it might be a 3-week delay from the province based on the elections NB situation.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. I fear it's going to be more than 3 weeks. And that's very concerning. I don't think there's absolutely nothing we can do.
Once May 10th hits, we're our hands are tied until the results of the election are declared, as far as bylaws go.
Wow. Okay.
Okay.
So the tentative date of the election is still the same, just the results may differ, or the what makes it official will make it delayed.
Yes, the May 10th will be the day that of the election, the general election, in all places other than the north that is under lockdown. But they will not release the results until the last polls close in Edmundston, whenever that is. And they can't do much about that. That's in the elections. That's in the Local Governance Act, about how they announce the results. And they're stuck with that at the moment.
So I would say that we just proceed as we should. I mean, there's not much else we can do by the sounds of things.
No, there's nothing we can do.
No, I am concerned about this because who knows what we're gonna be talking about next week. You know, like it could be us in lockdown for all we know, or get, you know, and you know, the next few weeks could say a lot. I just don't know how do we continue business as normal and keep the community moving at the same time. There's got to be something here. Like,
Well, business can keep on moving, your worship. It's just that certain part of it can't keep on moving. And if this lockdown goes into 3, 4, or 5 weeks, then we could be sometime the end of June before something happens. Am I right?
It's very, very possible. And yeah, and we always knew, like I said, we always knew that this was going to carry between the two councils. You know, fortunately, bylaws that are in reading don't die on the table at an election like they do at the province. But the fact that we're just after May 10th, we can't do anything it's just the nature of the beast. And unfortunately, we don't know what's going on up the north. It's possible that if that does extend, I could see there's a possibility that the mandatory order could be changed, where certain exemptions can be to the Local Government Act could be put into the mandatory order. There are some now, specifically relating to what we're doing today, which is meeting electronically, because they've bypassed certain rules that are in the LGA to allow us to do this during COVID. So I mean, there could be an opportunity where they get pressure from elected officials and CAOs saying we need to keep going with business and we need an exemption. And but that's, I don't think they're going to consider that for a little bit until they know what they're dealing with up north.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but you know, this is something that the province has been telling us all along, that we're kind of treading in uncharted waters, so to speak. So we just got to kind of move forward. So whatever we got to do tonight, let's do it, and get the ball rolling, or whatever it is that we got to make a motion on.
yeah. Any more comments of council? Yeah. Yeah, it is unfortunate. Like I said, I hate this. I just have a bad feeling about delaying this developer any
Just
longer.
based on what I read at supper time, like,
Oh, go ahead, Phil.
I was just gonna say, based on what I read at supper time, what Jeff's saying is dead on the money. And we literally, after May the 10th, are a council without council powers until such time as the election results are made public. And so who knows what's gonna happen. And then we can all hope that Edmundston votes, as soon as they can, but it doesn't mean that somebody else can't shut down in the meantime. So it's not a great situation.
No, it's just, when you got developers that they don't understand any of this process, they just want to start developing, right? And it's just, it's hard. Now we're going to tell them that, oh, by the way, 14 days just turned into who knows how long.
Yes, but your worship, they understand COVID.
Yeah, no one understands it, but it's just the fact that we all know that this is something that we're pretty sure we're all going to agree on and move forward, because it's an easy process. We're going from industrial to residential, so it's not like it's controversial. And here we are holding it up just for the old red tape. And anyway, I guess if there's just anything that we could do, I would appreciate it. But anyway, for tonight, I guess not doing our first and second won't change it that much, because we could still come in if something got better in a week and do our first and second, could we not? If something changed.
It's very possible. I'll talk to Alex, but I would expect first and second would be at your final council meeting. Like I said, we're not playing it long. we can just do it in a more formal, in our normal process rather than a special meeting, and get those out of the way. It's the end game. The end date's not going to change. It's not going to change the dead time, but we can demonstrate at our meeting that we are intending on moving forward with it to the developer. And but by the same token, we have a duty to the public to not rush these things and make sure we're being taking our time to consider them properly. So we've got to, we can take advantage of that time as well, to make sure we're doing the right thing. So I think it's a good compromise given the situation that the cards we've been dealt, and we just have to play them the best way we can.
Okay. All right. So no more questions. Alex, you got nothing more?
No, that's it, Your Worship.
Okay,
Just
so
as the clerk said, that this is, I think the process is going to happen as quickly as the Edmonton situation is resolved. And I think realistically, if the first and second reading dealt with at your next regular meeting, it wouldn't affect the timeline, even from what we originally projected. So I think we're still on track. And but I think what Clark was trying to say is that our May 12th kind of very ambitious deadline is just, that won't fly. So that May whatever target is kind of out the window. So I think we're going to be pushing this out. We have to.
Yeah. All right. That's all we can do, I guess. So no more questions or comments. Have a mover and seconder to adjourn.
So moved.
Councilor Harding,
Second.
Deputy Mayor Carr. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion to
Aye.
adjourn. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody.
Good night.
See you
Good
later.
night.
Not everybody.